The Hat Trick Hockey Podcast is brought to you in part by Howie's Hockey Tape, the world's highest quality hockey tape. Use the promo code HTH Podcast in all caps to save 10% on your order of long-lasting hockey products, from hockey tape and wax to laces and socks. That's HTH Podcast, all uppercase, to save 10% on your order of Howie's Hockey Tape. What's going on, all you beauts and beauties? Welcome to the Hat Trick Hockey Podcast, brought to you by GL Heritage, the official beer of HCH. I am your friend and host, Brett Hedges, along for the ride with some of my favorite guys. Joining us on the show today, alongside the creator of the Hat Trick Hockey Podcast, the king of Crispy, Anthony Gaudette, is our good friend and fellow Harrow boy, Lee Harris. Thank you so much for joining the show, Lee.
My pleasure. Glad to be back in the county.
Man, how long's it been?
You guys know better than me, but I would guess it's got to be close to a year or just over.
I was gonna say this was your first time here.
Yeah,
though, right?
In person.
You were at the old place.
Yeah,
the old place on Jenner. Remember that, Brett?
The
old downstairs studio.
That's where me and him had our hard conversation, contract talks about
the
show.
It was very extent, but
you're still together.
Welcome home.
Yep, thank you.
How long are you here for?
We a couple more nights. This is our family vacation, so hanging out with the family and obviously hooking up with you guys is pretty awesome. This is my night out.
Yeah.
So,
oh boy,
it's nice to be here.
Well, we're happy that you chose to be here with us. You're a very busy man. Of course, you are the founder and head coach of Lee Harris Skating Systems in Columbus, Ohio, and you've been doing that for 15 years now, man.
Yeah.
Talk to us how that all started and where it's at today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a loaded question, but what made you want to start doing your own skating system back in 2011?
Yeah, honestly, we're in 2026 now, so it's the 15 year of the LHSS, which blows my mind because I don't feel old enough for that. But then I look in the mirror and I look at some of my buddies and I think, yeah, it's been that long.
I'm all salt and pepper over here.
We're all getting there. So yeah, long story, you guys know my background from coming from Harrow and traveling, doing the figure skating and the hockey all together, and made my way back to Columbus, Ohio. And at that time, the Blue Jackets were only 10 years old, so very small hockey community. So I started, just with some local kids and getting on the ice with them, and they excelled really quickly. And other parents and coaches took notice and just brought me in, and it just grew from there. And now I just, honestly, 2 days ago, just finished a 3-day camp, 180 kids, 6 hours of ice, 8 coaches, and it blows my mind, and it just keeps getting bigger, and just loving everything. It's great.
Just crazy, just 15 years, like that number, does it just ever stick in your mind? Like, I've been doing this 15 years, and that's through blood, sweat, tears, everything, to create a brand, to create a business, right? Because at the end of the day, it is a business, right? Yep. And along the way, you've crossed paths with some of the biggest names in the sport.
Yep.
Is it hard to look back and be because you had so many different stops along the way, whether it would be junior C, your pro figure skating, and everything in between, and then you just went down one vein. How proud are you for being able to pull that off?
I honestly don't look back that often. That's why, with a 15-year, I wanted to do a throwback for our jerseys and just kind of let the community know that, we are growing and where we came from. So it's a good time to reflect, but I usually don't look too far back. I'm always looking ahead, and I think that just goes back to growing up and always striving and looking, what direction I want to go. But I think as we do get older, we look back kind of the journey and where it began and where it is now. So, it's a good time to do that. I started coaching 25 years ago. I remember the first student being in front of me. I was 19 years old, just moved from Harrow to Connecticut, and figure skating at the time. And my coach asked, "Hey, do you want to make some extra money?" And so I was like, "Sure do." And get on the ice with my first student ever, and he wants to make the high school hockey team, and he's looking at me and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, oh, I'm the coach now. Yeah. So developed it from that first player, Rick Teleska. I'll never forget it, and so I do remember a lot of the journey, and I remember how hard it was, and it continually, there's struggles along the way, but at the end of the day, I'm coaching skating. And I've always been on the ice, and it's a love, it's a passion. So it is a business, and the business is around it, but I absolutely love every step of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not really a job when you love what you do and you're on the ice every day. So who are you on the ice with nowadays? Now, you said there was a kid from Sweden right now that's playing World Juniors, right? Tell us a little on him.
So Sasha Boumediene, I've known him now for, I think, 4 or 5 years now. His dad, Joseph, he worked his way up through the Blue Jacket organization. He ended up being actually an assistant coach his last year with us. Okay. And he was the head scout, European scout, and then eventually came and brought his family to Columbus. And Sasha at the time, I think, was 12, 13. His brother Wilson was 9. And they were already great players. Yeah. You know, I basically pushed them up the mountain a little bit further. So I can't take full credit from where they were and or where they are now, but I definitely put my hands on where they were in their skating and where they needed those special years. So Sasha's playing for Team Sweden, the Junior World Championships right now. I guess he scored a goal today, so we're super proud of that. I watched his game 2 nights ago, and his skating's always been really good. Mm-hmm. His vision's amazing. His hands, his hockey IQ. His dad's done a phenomenal job by preparing him for the game at a very young age. So, but one of the biggest things that when they first came from Sweden, we worked with them, was their work ethic. You know, it was something different from 90% of the players that I've been around. So, working with him and his brother, they'd be up late on a Monday night with their team practices, and then we'd be on the ice at 6 a.m. the next morning. And they'd never complain. They were just hard workers and always at the front of the line and super respectful with all the other coaches and players and no ego on them. So having them both have success and where they are is not a surprise to us. And at this point, I just get to enjoy his journey, you know, and it's pretty special to have those moments.
Mm-hmm. We were talking about the crazy overtime goal from Jiricek from the Czech over Finland, and you actually mentioned that you had worked with his brother in previous. Talk to us about that experience, and it's just so funny how when you're watching tournaments like this, you can say, "Oh, I've got a connection to this kid, and I've got a connection to this kid." Like it's a fun network to be able to put together, right? Yeah,
like I sometimes saying about reflecting and looking back, I think I could look at any league in the world, going even from the PJHL, who I have about 6 or 7 of my students that are actually playing there, which is awesome, and the success of that, the league has been great to see. But I watch the Junior Worlds. There's like 4 players that I've worked with, or their siblings, or it just, the longer you do it, the more you're around it. As you guys know, the hockey community is tiny. Mm-hmm. But going back to David Jiricek, who is Jiricek's brother, he was a number 1 draft pick for the Blue Jackets, and great kid, great IQ, but his number 1 thing was his skating. So I was working with him a few times a week and trying my best to push him up and get him what the team thought he needed. And we did our best with him, and he got every opportunity to prove it, but eventually they had to, trade him and trade up for him. So I've been, since Quinn Hughes got traded to the Wild, I've been a big fan of that team and watching them. They're fun. They're really fun to watch. I watched 2 games a couple weekends ago, and I was telling people at the rink, I'm like, I have no idea who the goalie is, and it doesn't matter because they're so stacked everywhere. It's fun to watch them. Mm-hmm. And Jiricek's playing; he's getting some minutes out there, and the commentators are talking about him being part of their future and stuff. So he's moved on. I helped him, but also I'm glad for his success.
Oh, for sure, because then who knows, like whenever he goes and tries to make that first impression with that team, he might be going back to the fundamentals that you taught him and say, I'm going to focus on this. Yep. And I'm going to showcase this is what I can do, and this is how I get to point A to point B. And that's at that end of the day, that's what you need those pro players to do, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Take those learnings, whether it was from 10 minutes ago or 10 years ago, and be like, okay, this is how I implement it.
Yeah. He was like, it was a big journey for him and I. Like we'd be off ice for about 45 minutes before, and we'd be in front of the mirrors working on his stride, trying to lengthen it out, trying to get his knee over his toe more on certain things, but open up in his hips and things. Then we'd get on the ice for an hour and work on his pivots, because he used to just swing wide on his pivots. It was a journey and a process, and I took a lot of video, and I was happy to do it because the video for these players is huge now with the new generation. So for him, I still had the video, and it was awesome to splice together 3 weeks of improvement, and so I took from the first time we were on the ice till 3 weeks later, and it was awesome to see how much he had changed, and that process is just so fun for me.
Yeah, that's the big payoff, right?
It really is. And sometimes if you don't have that video, then you forget and you just think that you're just pushing him up a little bit, but then all of a sudden you look back, you're like, it hasn't been that long, and look how much faster you are, or look how much more efficient you are. That's fun.
At the top level of the game, those microscopic
for sure.
things are what makes or breaks games, right? And we watch it as fans. We go, "Oh, well, that's easy." Like, why wouldn't you do that?
I'm sitting on the couch plowing chips, like I can do that.
But like, it's those snap-second reactions that you learn through those, quick twitch muscle fibers, and that's the name of the game, right? Those minuscule details.
Yep. You know what's interesting? I was thinking about it. I think I told you guys before we started here that my nephew just kicked my butt 7-0 in Shell. So, and he showed me. He goes, "Hey, if you I think it's top left hand, you can do a mohawk." And that's the first time in a game that you can actually do a skill move like that.
Really?
That I was just like, when I was hired by the Blue Jackets, nobody did it. All right, so we're looking at 11 years ago. That was like my big thing, the move that like, look at this guy out here doing this move that nobody's doing. And now you fast forward to 11 years later, now it's in the video game. And you watch the game, every kid's doing it. So talking about that, I already see where the change in the skating and the next jump's going to be. If you watch a Quinn Hughes, if you watch like Drysdale, who's doing it as well, they're getting away from crossovers in tight area. Okay, you're going to see it's more like a basketball style, like pivot, plant a foot, open, jog to the side. They don't want to cross over too much. Now, saying that, if you're watching McDavid fly up the ice, or if you want to get like north and south, you're using your crossovers getting up ice. But in the tighter areas, it's more that boxy side hop. If there's a forward coming back on you, like on the D, the D don't want to cross over and get in that vulnerable position. So you're kind of hopping to the side, and that's the new age of skating. So me noticing that, I'm trying to adapt that into my teaching from the ground up. Like the camp that I just did, I had even my 8-year-olds doing like a smaller version of that just to push them ahead of the curve.
Just to get that muscle memory, because it has to start sometime, right?
That's it. And it's fun to see. It's fun to see the evolution. You see it, all the commentators talking about the biggest change in the sport is the skating, and it's from the ground up. All these kids are getting it.
Yeah, if you can't skate, you can't play.
Yeah.
No,
right? Like
skating's a pretty important part.
Yeah, like back in the day, it was, in the 80s and 90s, you could be a Brett Hull, not be the best skater in the world, but you can still pop 700 because you know exactly where to be. And now these guys have to be so much like more well-rounded as players just to be able to earn a second of ice time, right?
Yeah,
Get some attention.
Yep.
On that note, is there anybody now that you're like working with who we should maybe keep an eye out for?
It's a good question.
Well, there's just so many.
No, with personally working with, like, obviously I'm still with the Jackets, so they're having me travel out. I'm up in Cleveland working with our prospects up there.
Okay, so are you still doing? So you're obviously doing Columbus. Cleveland.
Yep.
Are you still doing Ohio State?
No, that NCAA rules changed, I think 2019, with bringing like consultants and people outside. Okay. You have to be a full-time coach. So I still work in groups in the summers, and last summer I had like 20 guys out there looking for skates and stuff. But going in and working during the season, that's not allowed because of the rules. Okay. But still heavily involved with the players that are still in town.
And which is the AAA program there you still do, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then plus your own thing.
Yeah, I'm still a skills and skating coach for the whole Ohio Blue Jacket AAA program. So I hit U18, 16, 15, 13, 2000, all the way down. There's 13 teams in the program and 3 girls teams that I hit either once or twice a month, and then I'm up 4 days a week at 5 a.m. on the ice with my business, and it's full on, but I'm on the ice coaching kids how to skate, which is our passion, so it's never a job.
Do you ever have like a memory looking back at like when you first started playing that like that's like you can point out and be like, wow, I really love this. This is what I kind of want to do. Like,
I just think I always knew, and I don't think there was ever anything else. You know, sometimes I listen to, you know, podcasts or radio interviews of bands, garage bands and stuff. It's like, well, we had to make it because there was nothing else. And that's kind of how I vision myself. I was like, I had to kind of make it into something because A, it was my passion, number one. And B, I was like, I don't want to fall back on anything else. So it's like I was driven a long way to excel in the sports, you know, travel the world doing it, but then also make something out of it afterwards. So.
Do you want? I looked like you had something fired up. So who's the guy to watch for now in Columbus? Like, I know we got some of the big dogs, but they seem to always be a team that's like always has fresh young blood in there. So who's that guy this year?
This year, obviously he's made a huge splash, so everybody knows him. But Marchenko, like, you know, we all know that name. But I always go back to him just when he first came over from Russia. You know, he played in the K for I think a year or two, so he had the pro experience. But seeing him come in, you know, I'd already been coaching pros now for 8 or 9 years, but he was by far the hardest working player I'd ever worked with. You know, like, he would come in the summers and he would go, the gym was at the facility, he'd be in the gym for an hour, then he'd get on the ice with me for an hour with the AHL guys, take a break for about 20 minutes, come back out with NHL guys for an hour, right? And then he literally, you always hear it, first guy, last guy, right? And you're like, how true is that? He was the first guy that was like, he was in the hallway stick handling and messing with the ball like 45 minutes after a session. So it's like, it was 5 hours, like 3 or 4 days a week in the summers and off season, you know, and that I'd never seen anything like it. And then his first year in, everybody started taking notice. And the second year, that's when he made his splash. And it, to me, I was just not surprised.
It's crazy.
So we have, you know, Fantilli, you got Kent Johnson. He's not having a great season, but the skill on that guy, he's pretty special, and I think he's going to bounce back or figure it out, and, you know, the different combinations with lines and things like that. So we have up in Cleveland, Del Bell, Beluze, who's awesome. We have a lot of young guys that are in the system, which is something to be excited about.
Zach Werenski just got named to Team USA. That's a big pickup for them.
Yeah.
And I was looking at like the players, like the compilations of players that didn't get chosen for, say, US and like Canada, and like a lot of these like B teams you could line them up and be like, oh, well, these guys could also win a medal.
That's a good point.
You're like, when you see your guys that you've worked with go and play international, do you ever like playing like fantasy hockey, like, oh, I think this, like, if whoever you've worked with for the other team, like, it's just so much fun to just think about, right? And how excited are you for the Olympics coming up for that?
As all we are, you know, like it's
the best.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had it in this generation of guys. We got a taste of it with the Four Nations. It's going to be not as physically, you know, as what Four Nations was, just because they can't get away with the fighting, I believe, and stuff. So I think it's going to be way more skilled, and it's just when you're going for a gold medal and it's for your nation, it's going to be full on, and pretty pumped for it. But to your point, like being able to see, you know, if I think about it quickly, I think there's going to be 3 or 4 teams that I know personally guys on. So that's just going to be fun on that. But I mean, I'm red and white all the way.
Yeah. What I think too is going to be nuts is watching Wilson run around on this smaller ice, because he's going to be physical and he's a big body, but not only that, like, he could score goals.
He deserves
that's
it.
the thing. 100% he does. But that's the thing. All these other teams who maybe aren't as physical. And then to me, he should play with maybe Celebrini and Connor McDavid. You throw him on the wing, it's going to allow them to have more space, because who's going to want to go near them with that mutant on the ice, right? So
it's true.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think Celebrini played with Crosby at the
Four Nations.
Yes, and they were like really good together. And I think they played. Well, no, it's not Spangler. What's the one in the summer?
That's the World Hockey Championship.
Yes, they played on. He played on a line with like Sid there and was really good. So he could be with either one. But man,
he's a special player. I think he could play with anybody.
Yeah, Canada's going to be nuts.
They are. So have you guys in the pod like talked about the team selection? And
no,
stuff
not
like that?
yet.
Because
I was to, but we're about to right now.
Because there's some snubs, and you know, John Cooper definitely, you know, is getting some fire right now. And what are your thoughts, guys?
I think that's more of a trust thing.
Yeah.
Like he trusts those guys in certain situations, and some of those guys that he has coming in aren't really there for their scoring ability. They're more there for their roles that they're going to play in their own end. And there's a face-off guy, and there's a so he's kind of adapting to that. But I mean, if push comes to shove, like there was like Shifley, Bedsy.
Bennett.
Bennett.
Schaefer.
Like Bennett too.
Bennett.
Like what?
Bennett. Like that's my big one.
Yeah.
You know, like
that was a big
just
surprise.
Yeah.
The biggest surprise for me for making the team was Anthony Cirelli, but
Yeah.
I don't watch them enough to be like
That's a trust
critical
thing,
of him,
I think. Yeah.
right? Because there's 3 Tampa players that are on that team, right? So I don't know. Like I thought that it was wild that they kept Bedard off, but he has been hurt.
That one shows me maybe that injury is bigger
Worse.
than.
But he's
they're
already
saying.
skating though.
So skating and playing the games.
He'll be ready by February. He's Canadian.
We'll see. But or maybe they're banking on they don't want to give it to him right now, but they know it's a long time in hockey world.
True. Yeah.
That they're like, okay, just keep getting better. We know we're gonna get an injury here or there, and you're our first guy.
Yeah, and that's like kind of like the unknown factor about it because these aren't set in stone. Like anything can happen. Like we always see it with like World Juniors. Some kid will get hurt 2 games in, and somebody that is playing in the queue at that time ends up taking a ride to the championships and ends up playing some role in their victory.
I think they can bring 30 guys down there, so those guys would probably travel with them, right?
Yeah.
You would think.
Because like you think about it, Bedard, Wyatt Johnston, Sam Bennett,
Shifley,
Matt Schaefer could be
Yeah,
someone that
Schaefer
they bring
could,
in,
I think so,
right?
yeah.
Because Doughty's on that team, and he was a big piece of the 2010 team. That's also 26 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, 16
years ago. I was going to
16
say,
years
damn.
ago. Like, so it's because he was that young guy that was on the 2010 team.
Yeah.
And like
He's
I've
definitely a veteran guy. That's
For
for
sure.
bringing
He's
for
a-
you
experience.
need
Definitely
him
a
around.
glue guy, yeah.
Like I even think about like when Canada won their first one in 2002 with all those Red Wings on that team. Like you had Eric Brewer playing with Al McInnes.
Yeah.
Dude was 40 and Brewer was literally 19 years
Yeah.
old. Like I thought that if they went with Matthew Schaefer, that they would have at least some sort of punch. But the kid literally only played 17 games last year, and he's fresh into his New York Islanders career. Like I don't.
What's crazy is for him to be in the talks of it
Yeah.
already,
Oh.
considering like they even said like he was like one of the names that came up, and they just said that like they couldn't believe how much or how fast it was to where he was a factor, to where he was in on the conversation of possibly being on the roster. So it just shows you like the youth now in the league is just like it's miles ahead of to what it was 15 years ago, let's say. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
You'd hope that the number 1 overall pick would be able to contribute. Though.
I would think so,
And everyone's
yeah.
surprised that he's doing as well this quickly.
I'm not surprised.
I
He's
think
so
the
good.
difference between like different generations, they were just as skilled when Gretzky was coming in, when Eisenman was coming in, right? But it's more of these players and these young kids, 17, 18, 19-year-olds are coming in with such like a confidence and a swagger and like, I know I'm good and I'm going to take it. And they are, and it just that's the difference. They don't have to earn it because they already expect that from themselves from a very young age. And to me, that is impressive.
And like rookies nowadays aren't like rookies back in the day because essentially by the time you're 16, 17, you're already a pro athlete, right? That is exactly what you do. Like that's why they play on these high level teams in the OHL and the CHL and even like the better teams in the NCAA because they're thinking, okay, like I know that I'm projected to be this or this, like this is my job. Like and it starts as old as 15, 16 now with these young guys getting taken in the O. Like I feel like Ethan Belchez for Windsor is a great example because first overall pick when you're 16 years old, he's already being told in 2 years, if you do anything similar to what you're projected to do, you're going here.
Yeah.
Like, so like at the time he's 16 years old. He's a pro athlete already for sure. Right. And that's the kind of the switch
They're
that
groomed from a young age.
Has changed a lot,
wild.
right?
Yeah. So it's funny that, talking about the Olympics aren't that far away, but they are. We were watching the Red Wings and Penguins game last night, and every time Crosby's on the ice, he's got 2 goals and stuff, and every time anybody's coming near him, I'm already like, don't get hurt. Don't get hurt. You know what I mean? Like, we're in that point that we're just...
leave him alone.
Yeah, like, he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it is, and that's another fun thing for us right now, watching hockey in our generation, is seeing how, going back to Tom Wilson, seeing how these players have evolved and become like relevant in hockey now with these young players that are dominating.
But imagine we had Connor with Bedsy or Celebrini, and then Sid with the opposite one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who do you put with them? Like, that's the thing. You have so much. And then you still have Marner. You still have, like...
Yeah.
Like
not to say that the team they selected is bad
Canada's
at all. Like,
loaded.
It's incredible.
I could throw together lines and they might win a gold. Like, that's how good Team Canada is. Like, that's the part that's nuts about it. But going back to Columbus, I was saying to Brett, this Olivier guy, you know me, I like to play that gritty style of play. So I hadn't really heard of him. And then he squared up with Rempe last year and like welded his eyes shut, and I couldn't believe it. And he's not like a super huge guy, is he?
I mean, his biceps are huge.
Oh yeah,
but
I mean,
no,
like,
he's. I would say whatever the paper says, he's got to be no more than 5'11". You know what I mean? He's not a big guy, but I'll tell you, going back to that Rempe fight. So because Rempe got in a fight like 3 games in a row, right, and then the closer was Olivier,
I'm like,
right, and he got squared in the nose and double black eye and all that. The next time I walked in the locker room and I saw Olivier, I go up and I shake his hand, and I was just like, just jokingly like, it's great that you taught that kid a lesson. And he goes, honestly, somebody's got to get in his ear. He's going to get killed. Yeah. His mind was right away. It wasn't like, I'm bragging about this. He's like, no, someone's got to get a hold of him.
Mix in a head bob or something.
Yeah.
Like,
so it was nice to see him, like care about the player. And,
but that just kind of shows you what I always find, that the fighters are the nicest guys. Like, they're the ones that you get out on the ice and you piss them off, they'll pump your eyes shut. But when you get off the ice with them, they're the nicest guys. Belly up at the bar with you. Some of them, like we've had a lot of fighters on this show, and I always find that they're the nicest ones, man.
It's just the role, man.
It is.
You find what you're good at, right? And unfortunately, some people are just really good at fighting. It was never my thing, right? But like,
mine either.
It's just wild, that kind of breed, right? You talk about like a Derek
but I mean, this guy will score a goal here and there too. Like, he's not like, he's kind of evolved himself into a nice, like, all around NHL player.
Yep, and another crazy hard worker.
Yeah,
like he earns everything he gets. And that's what it takes, and especially at the NHL level. It's like, he's an enforcer and pretty much known as he owns the belt, right?
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah,
and he's an animal.
But you look at his point totals. Honestly, the Jackets they lost so many games. He just came back from injury, and now it's going to turn around. Just having him in his presence in the locker room, on the ice, and it's a big role, and it's nice for him to contribute on the score sheet as well.
It's got to be done. We didn't talk about Canada's goaltending. I think that it's going to be Binnington going to be the number 1 guy, but I could be wrong. What do you think, Lee?
I don't know goalies.
Yeah, I don't skate too much with goalies.
I never see goalies, just net. No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the starter is probably going to be Thompson. I would think.
Yeah.
I would think so, but if you get into a game, I guess
back in the day he played for Brock Badgers, Brock University.
But if you get into a game that really is like push come to shove kind of game, like, do you go with Binnington? Because he seems to be like calm and cool in those situations. Like, am I nervous? Do I look nervous?
I think he's a big game player.
Yeah.
He's just. I think he just gets into other games. Like, I don't want to, like, I think he's almost kind of bored until he gets into those big games, and then he flicks a switch, and then all of a sudden the guy's like a brick wall, which is insane. And when he at the Four Nations was sensational in the finals, like, those guys were trading saves in the freaking, I think it was the overtime, they were trading saves. And it just, like, I don't know, but he's a complete snap show, Binnington. You never know. You never know what this guy's going to do. But I just think in those big games, I think you turn to him. But I think if you're starting off at the, like, who is it? Thompson, Binnington, and
Darcy Kemper.
Like, you could almost flip a coin and play either one, no?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think maybe, like I said, to your point, is start with Thompson and go from there, and you know that it's it's gonna end.
You have to just play the hot hand.
Yeah. Just the fantasy booking, just like this is the best.
Yep.
And like looking back at even like 2010 with the golden goal and 2014 in Sweden, like
you sense it. Like I sense the changing of the guard. Crosby with Celebrini. I wish Bedard was going to be there because I think it's 1 and 2 with both of them. But Celebrini, like, you guys get to watch him much. Like,
I've watched him, yeah.
He's definitely a combination of, like, he's got Yzerman in him. He's got who else was it that I was thinking about? he's just got a bunch of like players in him that he plays that old time hockey, but he's smart, he's quick, he's got the vision, the IQ. Yeah. You could tell the team already respects him, and
Well, I think he's wearing an A already.
I think so, but I mean, if he doesn't already, he definitely deserves it. Kid's one of the top in the league.
I didn't even realize his story that his dad was like he's high up with the basketball in California there, and on the athletic side, and so again, going back to the grooming these players and from the ground up, and it really takes that. I mean, we just talked about Sasha and Wilson come from Sweden, and I saw what they went through, and they're always doing plyometrics on the ground and working on the explosion, and which now I'm having my nephew do, and it's making a big difference. It's not just on the ice, it's off the ice. It's your sleeping habits, it's all the little things that accumulate to all the success. So.
What does 2026 look like for you, Lee?
Keep growing. The game's changing. We just talked about that, and I like to get on the ice still and move and try these moves out that they're doing and try to implement that from the ground up, and watch lots of video, watch Canada win the gold.
Hopefully.
No, it's we got a lot of exciting things coming up. With the Jackets, and down in Columbus, it's our 25th anniversary, which is fun down there.
We got to get down there this year.
We talked about that.
Well, we were gonna the 1 year. Listen, it's not your fault though, but we were so for anybody kind of a little bit of a backstory. So we were like set to go down because the Wings were there. So we were set to go down, and I think 2 days before we left, you got sent out somewhere. So Lee had to go skate with somebody, so we couldn't go down. But we need to do that this year, though.
Yeah, it's a great spot. I'm sure you'd agree that it's a very underrated hockey market. And for anyone that doesn't know or has ever been down to a Columbus game, like obviously you've been to many, what are they missing? Like, because my dad went down there a couple times because my nephews would have tournaments and stuff, and they'd always work in a Columbus game. They said the environment's great. Like, they've got a cannon that they shoot off after goals and stuff. Like,
things fucking scare the shit out of me, that thing. I already know it.
No, it's awesome. They're built for a playoff team like the city. It's a sports town. We got the OSU, one of the best football programs in the country. And so they expect a winning team. And they're starting to prove that in the crowds. I mean, they're always top 5 in ticket sales, right? And even if they're on a losing season or don't make the playoffs, the fans show up and they're loyal, and they respect the team. And another nice thing is that like the players are so big in the community, and they do so much. And I'm obviously hand in hand with the youth hockey in Columbus, and the players are always around and willing to give time and to come to the rink with their families, and they don't shy away from it, and big celebrities and egos and stuff. Like you can go to any rink and you'll run into Rick Nash, Dorsett, RJ Umberger. Like the list goes on and on and on. That it just shows the community down there is growing and big, but it's also small, and everyone takes care of each other.
Are you at a lot of the home games?
I go when I can. Because I am, like I said, the skills and skating coach for the AAA program. So at night I'll be hitting a couple teams and stuff. So if it works in my schedule, I go down, I sit at the press box way up top, and get some free popcorn. And there's not really much. There's not really much for me to do except watch. And by the time I see them at practice or get on the morning skates and stuff, I see what I need from the players and what they could benefit from my time that I can get from video. So if I go down, it's just for me to enjoy the game and see how the boys are doing.
We gotta go down.
It's fun.
What was that first conversation that led to you having a relationship with Columbus, and one that's been over a decade now?
Yeah.
Like when you look back, like what was the initial conversation or the connection that you made that ultimately
it's
got
actually
you
a funny
Columbus?
story. So like I said, I was starting to make my name in Columbus community just from the success from some of the players I was working with, and this is, like I said, this going back 11 years.
So this was 2014?
2014 was my first year.
Yeah, you started in 2011, right?
Yep. And my business started in 2011, and then 2014, that's when the Jackets brought me on board. And so they had heard from me just from like the local community, like scouts that were in town, or everyone playing pickup hockey or whatever.
Yeah, because the business has always been in Columbus.
Yep. And we're lucky in the Blue Jackets own every rink in Columbus, so I can walk into the 7 ice rinks and basically get on the ice, and I know all the managers and stuff. So it's like it's all set up. The highway's one big circle, so it's 20 minutes to each rink. So everybody knows each other and things like that. So they had heard about me. They called me into a meeting, and it was Chris Clark, who was a former player. He was the player development. So he brought me in, and we had an interview, and we talked, and he says, actually, he goes, do you have your skates with you? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, let's go on the ice, and let's see what we can do. And we get out there, and I show him some stuff. I'm running him through a skate.
What to say,
I was like, here, let me just act like you're one of my players.
Yeah.
And within 5 minutes, he goes, man, I wish I had this when I played. He goes, this is a no-brainer. And Chris McFarland, who's now the GM of the Avalanche, he was the assistant GM, and he goes, they called me the next day, and he goes, when can you start? And then I think 3 days later, I'm on the ice with my first NHL player ever, Boone Jenner.
Boone Jenner.
Wow.
What a drop. What a name
Right?
drop. What
So,
a fantastic player.
honestly, it was his second season. He had a broken wrist. He broke his wrist, and they wanted him to get on the ice, work on his skating, and I had known him from watching Junior Worlds, right? Already being like,
he
wow,
was
this
team
guy's
captain, right? Yeah,
he was a stud,
for
right?
Canada, yeah.
Like just a hard nosed get, in the corners, front of the net, and so I was excited to get on the ice with him, obviously. And I don't know who was there, but I have a picture of me in some like tracksuit, some like probably borrowed gloves or whatever, and him and I are in the middle of the ice working on it. And to this day, he's like my guy that I'm just like, that's where it started, and seeing him even at that age. I mean, he was let's say early 20s. You could see that he was going to be the captain. He just had super mature and knew who he was, and gave me the respect, on what I was doing. And from there, we built a relationship, and it's been, 11 years. So.
That's wild.
It is not. So we have Columbus ties down here with our 73s with Burke Castles there, who's been sensational.
Solid.
He's
Very
been
solid.
amazing.
Has he? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's been great. I think he's only lost. I think he's like 12 or 13-1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the one game
He's
against
like
Lakeshore.
one game against Lakeshore, and it was
They
tight
won that
game.
one for you.
Yeah.
But he's been great, and I think his dad's been at a few games. We haven't really got a chance to talk to him yet. That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen at one point.
I feel bad that we need to rewind the tape and say, like, when you're walking around the rink and all these players, Rick Nash and all those guys, and I should have said Andrew Castles, because that guy is like honestly one of the nicest humans, not even hockey guys that you'll ever meet. He'll like take the shirt off his back for people.
I think I still have his number.
Yeah, like honestly, like you
to
need to like stop him, talk to him. I've mentioned that, everything that you guys do. And I just actually, Burke walked by me. I was doing my camp, and he walked by me and said, Burke, I'm like, how you loving Essex? He absolutely loves it.
Yeah.
He has a great hockey community. I told him that I played for Bell River, now Lake Shore.
What did he say? Beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, did you play in their rink? And he goes, yeah, it's nice. I'm like, that's not where I played.
Yeah. I played the old barn.
That's right. I miss it. But no, I'm glad Burke's, doing well here, because
we love him.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while for him to find his spot, and I'm glad that it's here, because obviously we have our ties here. I asked him, like, have you made it down to Harrow? And he's like, Harrow? Where's that?
Question mark?
I'm like, someone's got, yes.
We'll bring you down there, Burke. We'll bring you to Harrow.
Harrow
we'll have
Arena.
some lunch. And
That's
we'll
right.
have some lunch and skate or
We'll
something.
teach you some names.
Yeah.
Oh.
Colton Fratter.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll teach you some of the Harrow ways.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
That could be good or bad.
No. Great family, though. Cole, is old, Burke's older brother Cole plays over in KHL now.
Okay.
He was with the Cleveland Monsters
Is
with us
he a
for a while.
goalie too?
No, he's forward.
Really?
Power forward. And then his brother Cruz, who's their youngest, was up playing AAA for Barrie. Got drafted by the Colts last year.
Sweet.
So he's bouncing around, figuring his way. But just a great old-time hockey family, and just they help everybody out. They come out and help my skates when they can, and I'm glad that he's here with you guys.
Me too.
He was fantastic. He had 2 shutouts in a row, or during starts, and he came in that one game against Amherstburg, and he stopped 6 of 7 after Devlin let him a few.
Come on. So that's for my kids.
I wasn't
That's
gonna
for
do
my
it, yeah.
kids.
A lot of 6-7s out there.
I got young kids. You got to. I'm all in.
Yeah, Burke's been very good.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, has been best goalie in the division, hands down.
Oh
That's
yeah,
good.
so far he's been pretty good.
That's
But
no
when
disrespect to the other
you know,
kids,
but
but
one of
look at the
the
numbers.
things that Burke does very well is not only he's a big body, but he gets out into the top of the crease where he shuts down your angles, and he doesn't kick out a lot of rebounds. The puck seems to stick to him a lot, which is what you want as a goalie, right? And he doesn't really give up softies. He doesn't like. A lot of the goals that we've seen on him were like ripped. Like there's nothing you can really.
Honestly, Lee, you should see the skill in junior C now.
Yeah.
Like from where I've been.
I wish you were here
Yeah,
this
like
week.
just-
I would just say, let's go. We're going to the game.
From all the stuff, like, because I've always covered, since I started journalism school and everything, like I've always covered the O, and like the trickle down that we've had through certain rules, and now they've got this junior C rule where they've got this like superstar drop down. So like a guy who played in the OJHL or OHL can still play at junior C for their 21-year-old birth year, and it's been really good. Like this past year, just from the names from Essex, like guys that were playing for Chatham and Junior B, they won the Ontario Sutherland Cup, it's called. And then, so 3 of those players are now on Essex, right? So some of their best players. Who's the third guy that I'm missing? Hunt, Matheson, and Jackson Fortier Smith. Like just the skill that's going on is elite. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be honest, I'm not surprised because you see it anywhere. You know, like even going to Columbus, you know, I saw the AAA program where it is now. Used to be AA. Like the skill,
exactly,
right? And now it's gone that.
Okay. You're good. Go ahead.
It's gone that way as well. So it's nice to hear. But I got to tell you, a couple weeks ago, I was on the ice with our U18s down in Columbus, and the coach and I were standing there talking, and I brought up, I'm like, yeah, I never played hockey without a red line.
Yeah.
And I could see a couple of players going, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, wait, you guys have no idea what a 2-line pass is? They're like, what? So we told them, and they looked
That's
like
true.
they looked at us like we were the craziest things. And I'm like, can you imagine the way that I would have been able to play the game without a red line?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Stretch
Like,
pass galore.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
You know, like coach would have just said, Lee, like kind of what McDavid does, right?
Yep.
You watch McDavid just fly down defensive, and by the time he hits his blue line, it's over.
Yeah.
They pass him the puck, and the other team's like, whoa.
His
Like,
acceleration is just next level, and you wish you could break it down more than just like pure just freak athleticism. Because even when he was playing for Erie, he was just a man amongst boys. Like he wasn't bigger than anybody, like than the biggest guy, but he was just at another level. And it was so fun watching him play.
Oh.
my analogy with him is that when he gets the puck, it's like Mario getting the star.
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, right? Everything just bounces off of him, and even if he makes a mistake, it's fine, and he's just gonna find the back of the net. It's amazing. It's the skill set's unreal.
I'm like tapped out. If you got anything else
Yeah,
you
you
want to
guys
ask
want to hit
him.
rip this
Let's
golf
go.
sim,
I mean,
right?
we're definitely gonna rip the sim. Is there anything else that you want to ask? I'm tapped.
I'm pretty good. You're just let us know where they can find Lee Harris Skating Systems
Yeah.
online, and you've got your website, right?
Yep.
Lee Harris Skating.
LeeHarrisSkating.com, Instagram, Facebook, all the same. And hopefully we want to do another Essex County tour.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're looking to hit the Spitfires this time.
Yeah, we can
We did
try
the
that.
Flyers.
Yeah. So last
73s.
time Lee was down for everybody. That was what?
2
that
years
was,
ago, probably now.
No, that was longer than that.
Was it? Jeez.
I bet you that was
flying.
3 or 4 years ago. And we did Leamington Flyers, Lakeshore, Essex, and we skated with the AAA program there, which was your nephew's
My
team, I
nephew's.
believe.
Talking about my nephew. I make sure we don't forget. I wanted to say something about him.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was like, how old was he?
He
when
was
we,
with the junior Spitfires at that time. So yeah, you're right. It's got to be about 3 years ago.
So
Yeah.
where's he at now?
He's playing for Biosteel.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's
So Biosteel sponsors the pod. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's doing really well. You know, I talked a little bit about him, like in the summertime. I did a lot of plyometrics with him. He came down and worked with me for 5 weeks in the summer, stayed with us and lived with the family, but he busted his butt and he did all the right things. And it really showed me where his mental side of the game was. And it wasn't me pulling him out saying, you got to do this, got to do this. It was like, you know, times when I wasn't out there because I was tired because of work, he'd be out in the front yard doing the runs and stuff like that. So watching the Biosteel and what they're doing and what they're creating and watching the YouTube clips. Have you seen that YouTube
Oh,
program?
yeah.
It's high end. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm all in. I'm just learning through Preston, you know, what they're offering and doing with that program. It's pretty elite.
Yeah, because you were asking me before you went, like, hey, what's this program?
Yep.
And I kept telling you, like, it's good. Like, trust me.
Yeah.
It'll be.
It changed names a couple times, but now that it's Biosteel Academy, like it's been really good. And like the products that even like the 73s have gotten was Santiago Jimenez played there. Yeah. And a couple other players.
I think the Gaudette boys came from Biosteel, didn't they?
Yeah, because what's happening is that eventually, I don't think it happened yet, but Windsor and Sun County, they're making them become one.
Are they doing that?
Program.
Smart.
So you're going to get Biosteel, like you're going to get more academies like that.
Yeah.
And Biosteel has been, they've been getting the best ones from what I've seen.
Well, what was crazy is when we were in
like
camp.
St. Cecile has like a program now like that.
Yeah.
When we were in camp here, all the kids in the red helmets were the ones fucking flying around the ice. I even like said to you, I'm like, all these Biosteel kids are fast as hell. Like they're zip, 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 zip everywhere. They were great hands, shot, like everything. I'm like, holy shit.
Well, it goes back to what we talked about earlier, is that they're, you know, these players that are going into the NHL, they're already pros, right? And I'm seeing what Preston's getting and offered each day. You know, it's pretty impressive, and it's, you know, that's what's pushing it.
Every week you'll see from their page or something that this guy is playing, like they'll get called up to whatever junior C program they have ties to, or like Wheatley's called up a bunch of the younger guys, and like a number of players are, if there's injuries or there's cuts or there's something like that, they're usually being filled by kids from Biosteel right away, like
100%.
And if more likely than not, like and there's a couple players that haven't, and they've gotten their first chance in junior C from that, but like it's 95% Biosteel kids that are getting there.
And I'm just learning through my nephew, you know what I mean? So it's I've been impressed by it, and watching that thing that they're putting on YouTube. It's been pretty neat, and I'm excited for Preston. He's going to be 16 this coming year, and OHL draft, and watching him get after it. It's fun to watch. And
you can get 20% off your order with Biosteel at biosteel.ca by using the promo code CrispyHTH.
Yeah,
I forgot to do that at the beginning of the show.
You're welcome.
But like it, I think that's everything. Right,
yeah,
bud?
man. Seriously, thank you. Finally, you're here. Now we're gonna hit this simulator.
You only get so much time back home, so we appreciate you spent a couple hours with us here tonight.
I appreciate
so that's LeeHarrisSkating.com. Obviously, he's with Cleveland. He's with Columbus. He's with the Columbus Blue Jackets AAA program, and he could be making a stop in Essex County. So keep an eye on the socials, and thank you very much for tuning in with us on Hat Trick Hockey. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Give us a subscription on YouTube. Get your 20% off Biosteel with the Crispy HTH code, and you can get 10% off your Howie's hockey tape order with the original promo code HTH podcast. So, Lee, thanks a lot, and we will see you next time on Hat Trick Hockey. Good night.